Um, I guess the big thing, if I don't say this, probably my wife and my parents will get mad. But a couple right about the time I was leaving Nike. So this was October of 22. Went in for a regular physical, and the doctor, my personal doctor, does an EKG every year just to see how you're doing. And she goes, this one time I went in, she goes, "Hey, how long have you been in AFib, atrial fibrillation, which is basically, real quick for those that don't know, because I didn't, is your heart beats in a rhythm. Your bottom and top of your heart beat like this to pump blood throughout your system. Well, the bottom part of my heart is beating normal. The top part of my heart's going crazy.
Mhm.
Is out of rhythm.
Okay.
So it's off a little bit. The big danger about that is usually it beats more rapidly and blood can pool and you can actually get a stroke from that. So, the doctor said, "How long have you been in AFib?" And I said, "I have no idea. I didn't know I was in AFib. I don't know what that is." So she did another EKG and she goes, "Yeah, you're in AFib right now." So she set me up with a cardiologist. Having been a runner and an athlete, I think made me a little oblivious to this through the years because I have a pretty low heart rate. Normally, I've been wearing a Garmin watch for years and years. Normally, my heart rate resting is about upper 40s, lower 50s. When I go into AFib, it's my resting heart rate average is upper 50s, lower 60s. So it's only about ten points higher,
Yeah.
where some people it's up like 120, 130, something like that. They're really in distress and it's crazy. So anyway, I kind of found that out and started talking to a cardiologist and then an electrophysiologist that looks at actually the electrical current in your heart. So I've had a couple of procedures with that. I'll go back into normal sinus rhythm, normal heartbeat for a while, and then it'll pop back out. And basically, what it is I feel like a little flutter or like too much caffeine, maybe. I'll be
Mhm.
fine, and all of a sudden it feels like I get a little jumpy, a little antsy, and that's what it is. I mean, I can still work out, do stuff. I just kind of have to listen to my body. But that's one thing I'm going through now is just trying to get this figured out and how we can get this corrected. I want to find out why, what the root cause of it is, and want to get it fixed. I don't know that we'll be able to do all of that, but we're working on it. So it just takes time and good insurance, I guess. So
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, no,
yeah.
that's a. I mean, that's. I can imagine that being kind of a shock, especially not knowing that anything's been wrong in the first place. And I mean, that's. I could see that because I had issues before too, and I can't remember if I ever told you this or not, but I had prostate issues for a long time, and I didn't know it. Um, so I went. I'd say I had it for 6 or 7 years, and I had small symptoms at first, so I didn't even think anything of it as far as prostate goes. But stuff that I probably won't share here on the podcast. It's a little personal,
Gotcha.
but
Gotcha.
there was symptoms and stuff that I knew that something was wrong. I just didn't put two and two together. Didn't think anything of it. But then what happened is throughout the years it got worse and worse and worse. And then it got to the point where I was having trouble sitting down, like just sitting. And for some reason my brain's like, oh, I must have worked out hard the day before, so that's why. So I
Mm-hmm.
had trouble sitting. I was having, I mean, testicular pain. I was having just like all like the things you might have with it. So I started looking up stuff like, and sure enough, I was like, I think it's prostate. So I decided like, well, I don't like the doctors. I never go to the doctors. I'm just one of those people. So I'm like, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to figure it out. So I
Oh,
thought, well, what if it's diet related? Because I haven't always had it. If it came up, let's see what happens. So I did like, I can't remember what you call it, diet. Can't remember the name of it, but basically what I was doing is just getting rid of things. So like I got rid of gluten first to see if maybe it was gluten. I started to cut dairy to see if it was dairy. And then the last thing I decided to cut was I was having like 2 coffees a day, 2 lattes. And I decided to cut coffee. The crazy thing is I cut coffee, never had issues again.
wow.
So, and I started looking it up and they said caffeine can caffeine or coffee can mess with the prostate and mess with certain things. And so I did end up getting checked up, and they said it was just inflamed, but they took tests to see if it was cancerous or whatever. It wasn't. But yeah, I haven't had any issues since. And I realized that, oh, if I rewind back to when I first started seeing symptoms, that's when I started coffee. I wasn't a coffee drinker, and someone talked me into it, and I started drinking coffee. And sure
Yeah.
enough, it's like, dang, that literally affected me that bad. So I don't know. So I think caffeine, which I mean, I know caffeine has harmful effects on the body. So I'm curious if, because you said that your heart flutter stuff happens, you think from caffeine too, potentially?
Could be. I've backed off on that quite a bit.
Okay.
I'm an iced tea drinker,
Okay.
not sweet tea,
Yeah.
not with sugar, but just like regular black tea or green tea. I drink a lot of that. So I've cut that in half, what I drink.
Yeah.
Balance it with water. Um, it hasn't made an impact,
Okay.
but I do keep an eye on it. I do monitor that and try to make sure that I don't, because that can, it's a big circular system thing, is that if I have too much caffeine, then I can't sleep, and poor sleep is a trigger for that
Yep.
also.
Yep.
So it's just like, okay, back off on the caffeine, eat healthy, just work out. Like I probably, you could check my heart rate right now and it would not be in a normal sinus rhythm,
Mhm.
but I feel fine. It's not racing, it's not fluttering. It's, it's just normal.
Got it.
Infuriates my mom, who was a nurse for 100 years. She goes, how, she always asks, and she means this in the best way, is, how is your AFib? I it's fine. I don't notice it. I don't know it, that it's there. I can't tell you. I can tell you I'm not in distress. I'm not. My chest doesn't hurt. Things like that. It's just something that every now and then I can feel it. Know it's there, but at least I'm aware of it. I take like a blood thinner now, um, a small amount twice a day. Just the doctors feel confident that that's going to keep me from having a stroke.
Okay.
So that's the important thing, I guess. And just being smart. I'm not 35 or 40 anymore. I'm not 6'8" and bulletproof like I used to be. Just a normal human, just an old guy. So I got to back it off a little bit. But no, it's pretty normal life. I just don't like having, I'm one of those people that don't like loose ends. I don't like that hanging over my head. So it's like, okay, let's get this fixed and let me move on.
I
So,
get that. No, I get that. And that's how I felt too with the whole prostate thing. I felt like, yeah,
mhm.
having that looming all the time. I'm like, it's hard sometimes not to have your brain go in certain directions where you're like, what if it's cancer? What if I have this issue? Or what if
Oh, yeah.
this, right? And our minds tend to do that because we want to try to figure it out. But yeah, once it
Yeah.
got fixed, I mean, that was definitely a relief for sure. So yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Kudos to you for figuring that out. I'd like to punch you in the arm for not going to the doctor, but at least you eventually did. And congrats for figuring it out. So
Dude,
that's good.
I'm such a stubborn person. I don't go to the doctor for any reason. And I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if it's a thing like maybe it's a trust thing. I don't trust the doctors and the always getting put on medication stuff or pharmaceuticals, or if it's like,
Hmm.
I don't know. I just like to think my body can heal and recover from most things, and I seem to be really healthy. I don't get sick ever, so I'm like, maybe what I'm doing for me is fine. But I understand that. I understand that. Like maybe I should get checkups more frequently.
Yeah. Yeah. That was probably one of the, I don't remember exactly when, but I kind of crossed that line from where I would accelerate when I drove by the doctor's office just so I didn't stop to, you know what, I'm pretty dogmatic now about every year having that checkup.
It's good.
And, if I hadn't have, I wouldn't have known about the AFib thing.
It's true.
So who knows where that could go. So,
It's true. Yeah.
yeah.
And I wonder how long you've had it.
Well, I was wondering about that. The doctor had done an EKG the year before, and it
Okay.
wasn't there.
Okay.
So
Got it.
it was something that had shown up recently.
Got it.
So I felt good about that I hadn't been masking it for a long time.
Okay. Good. That's good.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, hopefully everything gets fixed, or as far as like, hopefully the AFib like starts to get on point and you're all good. But I'm just glad that
Yeah.
you're taking matters in your hands and you're figuring it out, which I think is all you can do.
Yeah, yeah. I'm annoying doctors. These people just going in and asking a lot of probably really stupid questions, but I'm on a mission here with this to get it figured out and get it under control. So I'm probably working them more than they want, but that's okay.
You got to do what you got to do. You got to make them work.
Yep,
That's why they make the big
ex-
bucks.
that's right. That's right.